We're going to begin this section talking about radian measure and converting between degrees and radians. First, let's go ahead and kind of get an understanding of what a radian measure is. In trigonometry, we have an alternate form of measurement on angles. So rather than talking about an angle being measured in degrees, we might talk about it being measured in radians. So it's just an alternate form of measure. Now, a radian can be defined as the radius of the circle, and then you lay that radius around the edge of the circle, and that constitutes 1 radian measure. Okay, so a radian is found by basically laying the radius of the circle on the edge of the circle, and you can add them up all the way around, and that's basically what a radian measure is. It's used extensively in engineering, in science, and mathematics. Especially in calculus, we do a lot of things in radian measure. So, what if I want to be able to convert between degree measurements and radian measurements? Well, it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. If I want to move from degrees to radians, then I simply multiply my angle by pi over 180 and then reduce. So let's practice doing that first. In this example, I'm going to convert from degrees to radians, and I'm going to leave my answer as a multiple of pi. So we're going to be dealing a lot with fractions in this particular section, and really when we deal with radians. So we're going to become familiar with using our calculator and allowing the calculator to do the fractions for us. So if I convert from degrees to radians, I am going to multiply my degree value by pi over 180. Okay, so really this is the fraction 60 pi over 180. Now I need to reduce that fraction, and although I can do that in my head, let me just show you how to do it really fast on the calculator. So we would say, let me go home, we would say 60 divided by 180, then I would hit math, choose option 1 for frac, enter, enter, and it reduces, it returns for me a reduced fraction. So 60 over 180 reduces to be 1/3. We write our answer as a multiple of pi, so in other words 1/3 turns into just pi over 3, because the 1 is understood here. Okay, so we're going to do a couple like that. This next one, 90, I want to change that into radians, so I would say 90 pi over 180. Okay, well that just reduces to be 1/2, or pi over 2. All right, and how about this one, 120 pi over 180. When I reduce that fraction, I end up with 2 pi over 3. Okay, so you're getting the hang of it? Those are kind of straightforward. These are all angles that we'll be memorizing really soon. But let's do one that's maybe not a common angle we would memorize. How about 108 degrees times pi divided by 180? Well, when I put that in the calculator and reduce that fraction, I end up with 3/5, or 3 pi over 5. Okay? The next one, negative 135. We're going to leave it just like it is because I'm converting this angle right here from degrees into radians. Reduce that fraction, and we should find a negative value of negative 3 pi over 4. And last but not least, what about this one right here? This is a decimal value. So in order to convert this decimal value, 325.7, we would multiply 325.7 times pi and divide that by 180. So let's just see that one on the calculator. So I'm going to say 325.7 times pi. Now pi is hanging out over here above this caret symbol, so I would say second house, and that gave me the pi symbol. Close my parentheses and divide by 180. When I hit enter, I get a radian measure of 5.68. So that's 5.68 radians. So it's a fairly straightforward calculation. You would simply put pi over 180, multiplying it times your degree measure, reduce the fraction leaving pi in the numerator.